Welcome to the Show Me the Way podcast. I am your host, Andrea Miller, and I'm so excited to bring this show to you. Show Me the Way is a podcast dedicated to exploring the journeys of those who have faced adversity and found themselves on unexpected paths. We will have meaningful, thoughtful conversations about challenges we have faced and how we discovered and forged new direction. Prepare to be inspired and to uncover your own strength as you listen to relatable and motivating stories. Life has a way of twisting and turning, and we often need a fresh perspective to understand how to navigate. Let's show each other the way. Today's episode of Show Me the Way is overflowing with joy, positive energy, and heart-centered wisdom. I'm joined by Sarah Johnson, a powerful yogi and another woman I was grateful to meet during my time in direct sales. Though our time together was brief, it was deeply impactful. We stepped out of our comfort zones during an unforgettable adventure that bonded us in such a meaningful way. In our conversation, Sarah shares how discovering her yoga practice and embracing self-care became anchors for her during a challenging season of life. Through this journey, she found a deeper spiritual connection and began creating a more balanced, purpose-driven life for herself and her family. Sarah's passion extends to her relationship with her children and how she is showing them the importance of going after joy and trying new things. Her story is a beautiful reminder that it's never too late to tune into what lights us up. This episode will leave you inspired and encouraged to keep finding your own balance and joy. I can't wait for you to listen to this heartfelt conversation. And please follow Sarah on Instagram and check out the book she recommended by Hal Runker, Scream-Free Parenting, which you can find on Amazon. And we are back with the Show Me the Way podcast. Today's guest is Sarah Johnson, who I had the pleasure of meeting when working for a clothing company. And Sarah and I didn't work too closely together, but we did experience an amazing trip where we started new experiences and we stepped outside of our comfort zones together. And that just really kind of bonded us for sure. Sarah exudes joy. She's so much fun to be around, and she's also extremely inspirational. She's a hardcore yogi, and she has amazing strength and balance. Sarah is a mom and a wife, works as a dental hygienist, and she shares products she loves as an affiliate marketer. She's also quite the motivator, reminding us all to find our joy and shine our lights, because she and I want to help build positivity in others, and we want to encourage and empower one another. We have that in common. I knew she'd be an awesome guest for the show. I'm so excited to welcome you to the podcast, Sarah. Thank you for being here.
You are the sweetest. Thank you, Andrea. I will never forget our time in the Narrows. It
Me
was
either.
so much fun.
It really, really was.
I appreciate you having me on.
Of
So,
course.
yes, thank you so much.
So, yeah, I'm so glad you're here. And I say a few things that I know from my personal experience with you, but let's hear a little bit more from you, a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, so you did a pretty good basic intro on me. I mean, really, I am a married mom of two. I have a 13-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old son. So I have one moving on to high school and the other to middle school. It's a big, big year for
It
us
really
coming up.
is. Wow.
And then I do work part-time as a dental hygienist. And yeah, I started practicing yoga around age 40. And that will be a story actually maybe for us to dive into, because that's really what has kind of brought me into this like self-care space and just try to inspire people to practice self-care as well. That's kind of where I'm at. So
You definitely project that. I follow you on social media and I see that all the time. So great job. I love that that's kind of your mission and you're staying true to it. So very good.
thanks.
And it's interesting that you bring up that we're talking about yoga and how that kind of means so much more than just moving your body, because I actually had a guest that I interviewed yesterday who was talking about spirituality and brought up yoga and balance and moving your body and all of that. And it's interesting how it's connected. So yeah, we might dive into all of that.
For
But
sure.
but before we do, thank you for sharing. Well, I wanted to ask, where are you from? Because I know I tell everyone I'm in
Oh, yes.
Michigan and you're not in
I
Michigan.
I'm Wisconsin. You can probably tell by my accent. I am a
Yes.
Midwest girl. I've lived here my entire life. So 47 years I've been in Wisconsin.
Well, we have
Um,
that in common. Michigan for almost 47 years as well.
See, there we
Midwestern over
are.
here too.
But yeah, I do. I love it here. I love our change of seasons. My family loves to travel. We do like some warm weather. I actually have a sister who lives in Australia,
Oh,
in like the rainforest area. So we we do love the change of seasons, but we also like to get out there and explore new places. So, but
Yeah,
this is my
great.
home.
Okay, okay, good. Just wanted to check that. So, as I always say, the Show Me the Way podcast, it was really started because, as you know, I have a son with muscular dystrophy. And when that diagnosis came to my husband and I, our whole lives just flipped upside down. We were like, what? Like the path, the plan, everything that we had thought we were moving toward had to change. And at that moment, I really hadn't dealt with a lot of adversity. So, understanding how to cope with that and how to create a new path and to turn right instead of left, it took a lot, and it really changed me to be the person that I am today, good, bad, ugly, all of it. And I just know that everyone else has a story too. As soon as I started sharing about my son, people are like, "Oh, I know this and I know that person who has this going on and this happened to me and I had to do this." And sometimes it's a medical diagnosis, sometimes it's we had to move for whatever reason. Sometimes it's I really wanted to be a teacher and after 5 years, I completely changed my career. There's all kinds of different paths that we take. And it's really fun to hear people's story, to learn more about them, and then also to understand how they moved on from that and the perspective that they gained and what they learned and what they would go back and tell their younger selves. And so this has been such a great experience to get to know people. So you and I, yes, we've known each other, but there's a lot that I don't know about you. So I'm excited to hear from you. And sometimes it's like my very best friend will be on here and she'll say something I never knew as well. So you always learn something about somebody. Everyone has a story. People always say, "You want me to be a guest? What would I talk about?" I'm like, let me tell you, I know you have something to say. Everybody does. So I kind of tell my guests there's really no script. It's whatever's on your heart. And with that, I will let you go and we'll just see where this conversation heads. But you could tell us about a time in your life where you faced a challenge and you had to pivot, or you can just tell us about a variety of experiences.
Yeah, I love that. I think what I'd really like to get into today, probably more than anything, because it has really kind of forged my path to where I am today. When I was 40, my kids were, what, I think 5 and 7 at the time. So, it was a very stressful time in my life. I was very short with them. My husband, just snippy. And I was like, something is wrong with me. I was like, my hormones are off. Something is wrong, right? I didn't feel like I was in a good place at all mentally. Physically, I was doing okay, but not where I am now by any means. So I went to the doctor and I was like, okay, I need to get something figured out. Something's not right with me. They ran all the tests and my blood work, he's like, Sarah, your blood work's fine. Like, you're just a mom of young kids. It was my stress level. That's what it was. And I was going to the gym and working out, and I've always enjoyed working out. And I'd feel great for about an hour after I left the gym, but then it went away, and I'd be back to being snippy. So I was like, I need to do something for myself. And that's when I started looking into practicing yoga. I just started by using this. There was a website. It's called the yogacollective.com. There was a Groupon for it. It was like $12 for a whole year. So I thought, what the heck? I have nothing to lose. And I got it. And I started practicing like 20 minutes in the morning before the kids woke up very early, and then 20 minutes before bed. And that got me into this path of practicing on the daily and just really has kind of changed the way I look at self care and has calmed me. It's helped me just physically, mentally, spiritually, just all of the things. Yoga for me is all encompassing. So, as much as I love working out and doing other things, it's really just got me to where I am, where now I just want to encourage people to find something they love that makes them feel great. Yoga is not for everybody, it's just what has worked for me. But I'm really big on just people going after and finding something that makes them feel good, because self care is not selfish. And us as mothers, especially, we tend to put everybody else first. We put our family first, our husbands, our children, our animals, and then we kind of go to the wayside, right? So instead of it being selfish, I just want people to know that it's self-care, and for you to be a better parent, wife, you need to take care of yourself. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Very, very true. I love that. Self-care is not selfish. I had to write that one down. Very true. A lot of us, I'm sure men too, but you hear it all the time with women. We have to do all of this stuff. We have to worry about our kids. We don't have time to take care of ourselves. And it really does impact you emotionally, mentally, physically, everything. You're spot on. And I don't think we pay enough attention to that. I do like that you were an advocate for yourself and said, I have to go to the doctor, but crazy that it was like, there's nothing wrong with you. You just have to find something where you can feel more balanced and something that calms you. What made you get into yoga? Was there a friend that did it? Why did you seek out yoga?
This is a story as well. My grandmother, I just lost my grandma about 2 years ago. She was almost 100 years old. My grandma, when I was probably about 16, was like, Sarah, you should really get into yoga. My grandma started practicing yoga before yoga was cool. I think she was 17 years old, is what she told me, and she was working for a lawyer. I don't know what she was doing, but she was working for this lawyer, and they were talking about yoga and other things. And my grandma started researching it, and she was a vegetarian and started practicing yoga from 17 years on. So she encouraged me years and years prior to start practicing. And of course, I blew her off. I was 16 years old, right? But I've seen my grandma stay a very healthy, centered woman. And I thought, what the heck? I'm going to just look into it. Finally, at 40 years old, I started practicing. I had taken a class here and there in my 20s, but never committed to it by any means. And it felt good, but like I said, I was not committed to it. So that's kind of what, yeah, I guess I just thought, well, it worked for my grandma and she's doing
Right.
great. So
Yeah.
I might as well
100,
give it a whirl too.
100 years old. Wow. I love that story. That is so cool. I mean, my grandparents, I don't think they even knew what yoga was. So you're right. Yoga before
Right?
yoga was cool.
That's
Definitely.
that's it. That was my grandma. But yeah, I guess that's what made me do it.
I
Like
love it.
it worked for her and she was so fit. I mean, my grandma was like still doing her yard work, living in her house really until the day she died a couple of years ago. So
That is
really,
amazing.
really incredible. Yeah,
Yeah, what an inspiration. And it's very true. If you don't use it, you could lose it. So
that's
it's
right.
important to move your body and do what makes you feel good as long as you possibly can. That's amazing. And I'm going to ask because I've been around yoga instructors, I've been around other people that do a good job with yoga, but why do they call it practice? I mean, we don't really say that when we work out, but when you hear yoga, it's always a practice. I mean, I guess, especially for me, you're always trying to improve. So
Yes,
you're always practicing, but it's very interesting that they say, I practice yoga. You don't say, I practice lifting weights.
right. With yoga, it's your personal journey. You're not trying to beat out the person next to you on the mat if you're in a class. I mean, you're not competing with anybody. You're just starting where you are and trying to improve. And every day is a different day. Like that's the beauty of it. Some days you might be like super tight in your hips. Maybe you're super tight in your shoulders. People are more open in different areas and it can change throughout the days, weeks, months, all the things. So that's why it's a practice because
Yeah.
you truly are practicing to better yourself.
That's
So,
great. Yeah, that's
yeah.
a really good explanation. Before COVID, I used to practice yoga. I was a member at a fitness facility and I basically went there because I have a really good friend who is very flexible and very into yoga like you. I am nothing like that, but I would go because I wanted to meet her and again practicing because I always wanted to see if I could improve my flexibility and improve my balance and I just see how important that is as you get older. I also see how important it is to do different things when you're going to work out. You shouldn't always do the same thing. I used to run and it's like you shouldn't just always run. You have to do other things to build on different parts of your body. So I would be in a class usually 2 times a week. But then COVID hit and so we no longer went to the class. So now I don't take it as much as I used to, but I really did occasionally get to that spiritual place where you just feel calm. You're not thinking about your grocery list. You're not thinking about the 85 things you have to do, and you're just focusing on that. And that is something that is really cool about the practice of yoga. So talk to me about that and like the spirituality side.
I think one of the major things for me is really it has helped me to come back to breath work, which was something I knew zero about going into this. But there are so many instances in life where most of us feel like we're going to lose our stuff, whether we're stressed out something with our kids or maybe there's something heavy going on with friends and family. I mean, I have a lot going on right now around me. I have a lot of people close to me who are ill or injured. There's stuff going on. And the other day, I lost a. This is where I may cry. I lost a patient I was very close with. She had cancer, and her cancer progressed very quickly. And I was very sad that morning, and I was crying, and I knew I need to do something for me. So first I went for a bike ride. And when I was out there riding, like yoga helps me to really look around and appreciate, take in all your senses, right? So when I'm on this bike ride, I'm on this beautiful trail and the green trees are like arcing over, just making this beautiful tunnel. And it just really made me appreciate knowing that Judy is okay. She's in a good place. She actually passed the same day as one of my best friends. So I know they're together, right? And I felt good about it. And I actually smiled when I was biking and I was very, very sad. But I know that she's okay. And like the light just kind of shines through and I kept going. Then I came home and I got on my mat and I just did a 30-minute flow. And at the end, you're lying still and you're very in tune with your body. And it is really hard to do to just lie still. I would like anyone to just try and do it and really focus on your breath, like counting in for 4, maybe counting out for 4, because our mind will tend to wander. But as I was lying there, then the tears came, right? And I was able to let go. And when I was doing that, I realized I'm someone I'm very strong physically and mentally, especially for my family. I do not break down very easily. I don't show emotion very well. I'm always there for others, but I don't typically let people in and to be there for me. And that's when I was lying there in that moment, I realized I need to let other people take care of me. I actually got off my mat and went to my husband and I said, I need a hug. Like, I am really sad right now. And I started crying because I don't even do that for him very often. So I guess that's the more spiritual aspect of yoga for me. It lets me work on the things that I still need to work on because I'm far from perfect. We're all learning. We're all learning. But yoga for me lets me focus more inward instead of when I was at the gym and doing my classes, it was very external. Yoga brings me in more. And that's why I love it so much. I mean, I seriously practice every single day. And I also lift and we hike and we bike. I'm someone who loves movement, but yoga is the one thing I just won't give it up. It's the thing I need.
It's your
So
non-negotiable.
it's my non-negotiable for sure.
Oh, well, that's a great story and a great perspective on it. I am definitely not good at meditating or being in a quiet place. Yeah, when you do that the ending part, the shavasana, I'm like, okay, I have to think about all the things I should be doing. And then when you do a class, I'll use the Peloton app and I'll use a class like that. And it's like, it's up to you. You can just turn it off. I mean, you're not getting up and interrupting a class. You can just turn it off when you want. And so to purposely lay there and take that moment, it's hard to do to just stay put for a couple of minutes and to just be still. But we all need to get better at that because there's internal things we need to go through. And yeah, I can see how that would be very beneficial for you. But you touched on being strong for everyone else and not leaning on other people. And I think that is something that, and I'll say it again, a lot of women especially, but probably everybody, we need to get better at that and to not look at it as a weakness. because sometimes we just need other people. I mean, we're super women. Okay, we've got it. We can do jobs and we can take care of our children and we can do all of these things, but we can't do it all. And we can't do it all without help. And I think I always go back to my son. I don't like to say that everything happens for a reason all the time because sometimes it doesn't make sense. But I do think a big reason why he has muscular dystrophy and came into my family and why I'm his mom is because I needed to learn that kind of perspective that sometimes you do need to rely on other people and sometimes you do need to understand you can't do it all on your own. And I'll get the guilt. I'll say, "Oh, I should be able to handle all of this." But I'll give you an example. This morning, I had a car issue after I dropped him off. And of course, my husband's out of town. So I thought, what am I going to do? I have this interview appointment. I don't want to move it. And I had my dog with me. And I thought, do I wait and try to address this later? But I'll have to go pick him up again. Is the car going to be okay? So I ended up driving past this car place that we have gone to before this repair, and I saw that it was open. And so I called and they said, you can get it in right now. So I had no other person to come pick me up, but I just went there, dropped the car off. And I thought, I'm going to figure this out. I've got my dog. We'll figure this out. I need this car to be looked at before I go on with the rest of my day and the rest of the weekend. And I tried to call my other son. No answer because he's sleeping. And I had to call one of my friends and I had to get her out of bed and say, can you come pick me up? And she did. And that inside, that took a lot because it's like, I don't want to interrupt her. I don't want to wake her up. I don't want to bother her or ruin her day. But I knew she'd be home and she helped me and it worked out. And so we have to think that way. And if she did the same to me, I would have been there for her, right?
Yes. I just the other day I had told you, Andrea, I have a good friend who had a bad fall hiking and she broke her leg, she broke her ankle, she needed to be taken out by stretcher from this hiking trail and I needed to take her. She doesn't have a family. She's not married and both of her parents have passed. So she's alone. And I've been telling her, if you need something, reach out to me. And she texted and said, can you take me to this orthopedic appointment? So of course I took her. We spent a few hours together and then we got her home and I got her in bed and elevated her leg and all the things. And I'm so good about saying, I'm here, right? If you need me. And I want you to reach out to me. I want to help. It feels good to help others,
Mhm.
right? And I said, someday I might need you too. And it's so hard for us to ask for it though. For so many of us, we're fiercely independent. My mom is fiercely independent. My father, my grandma's like, it's just we need to know that it's okay to ask for help sometimes, no matter what it is. A simple car ride or something more major if you're having a major health crisis or something. You have to
Right.
ask for help.
You
So,
really do. And you can't feel guilty about it. And like you pointed out, we feel good about helping others. So, yes, there's a lot of negativity in this world. And yes, there are some people that maybe you can't count on, but there are quite a few of us that want to help. And when we say we're here for you, it's not just a throw it out there offer. It's true. It's genuine. We're there. Call us when you need us.
right,
So, very good
right,
point.
right.
So
Yeah,
that's the lesson for today. Don't
that's the
forget,
lesson.
everybody. And you know what? To bring us full circle, it brings me back to going through the narrows with you, and we needed somebody to hold all of our bags.
Yeah.
The one guide that was with us, we gave him all of our stuff, and he's holding like 25 bags because we knew we were going to go into deep water and we didn't want to carry them. But also just counting on one another. And I'm really glad I had my yogi friend because she had the balance. We walked through there, but I think not only was that just something fun to do, it was also a lesson. Like, let's see what we can accomplish together.
Right. For sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So
We need people. Us as humans, we are not meant to be alone. We're not meant to be alone. So, whether it's your friends or your family or whoever, we need people. We
yes, we
need
do.
people.
Yes, we do.
So,
So, okay, I love that you got into that, and it is funny that you say, "Oh, I didn't start doing it until I was 40," which Still, it's not that old in the grand scheme of things. And you always see those posts where we'll talk about like famous people didn't start acting till they were 50, or they didn't write their book till they were whatever, or they were doing something completely different and didn't change until they were in their 50s. So I guess you're never too old to try something new. And I really like that. I like you trying something new, getting into it, and I like you kind of showing your children that too. So, what do your kids see with mom, the yogi, and all of the things that you've got going on? What do you think they see from you?
What I have noticed in my children that I did not have when I was young is that I feel like my kids are a lot more confident. They know that self-care is important because I have a space in my basement that I actually go to when I practice, and they know that's my time. Don't knock on the door, do not come in unless you're bleeding.
Right. And really bleeding, not just a
Right,
little band-aid.
like a big deal.
Yeah.
Um, so they know that that time is important, and it's taught them also that when they need space, I, even if they're upset about something, my kids do know now that if they say to me, "Mom, I don't want to talk about it right now. I need space right now," I will honor that. When I was growing up, if I was like, "I don't want to talk about it," I'd be forced. We have to talk about it, like, right? So I think that's probably the biggest lesson that really it's taught my children and myself is that when someone tells you what they need, whether it's space or time or whatever, you need to honor that and then come back and revisit it when everyone's in a better place. I'm glad that they see the self care as being so important. And we still struggle, of course we do, right? We have our moments here. Um, I I yelled at my son just the other morning. It was yesterday. He was upset because his favorite shorts aren't clean. I'm like, I can't wash your clothes every single day. And I yelled at him. And then I felt awful. Oh, I felt so bad because when I yell, he gets upset, right? Because I don't yell very often in our home. And then right after, I apologized. I said, that was not a good moment for me. I'm so sorry. Just because I'm not having a good morning and I'm tired doesn't mean I should snap at you. So I'm sorry. And he was like, it's okay, Mom. I love you. But, there's a lot of times where we may snap at our children or say things that we regret saying that we don't always apologize. And I found that apologizing is like the best thing I've ever done with my children. They need to know that we're not perfect,
Right.
right? Because we're not. And then it allows them to also be okay with not being perfect, right? When I was
Hmm.
growing up, I felt like I had to hide things if I did something wrong. I don't want my kids to feel that way. So I I think I mean it's all I'm circling all over the place here, but it all goes back to kind of just being mindful, and that is what has come. It's not only the yoga, I listen to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts and it's the personal development self-care sort of stuff. I've kind of been I've become this self-care junkie advocate, right? And yeah, it's showing through in my kids too. My daughter, the other day, she was losing it, my 13-year-old, just losing her stuff. And I responded to her in a very calm way. And she goes, I hate it that you're so calm all the time. But that is what brings her back down. Because if she's in her crazy energy and I go back with crazy energy, it just is a storm. So controlling that fire inside of me, because it is there, I promise you. I'm not I'm not the most calm person all the time, but being able to control that now has, helped me and my kids. And I think it's helping them control their fire too, because they're navigating a lot of crazy emotions and feelings right now too. So,
Definitely. I I feel like my listeners are going to be annoyed because I say this almost every single time, but I always feel like the interview that I have was meant to happen at the very time that it happened. And I know you and I went back and forth a couple of times to find the best time, but it's very important for me to hear what you're saying right now, as well as our listeners, I'm sure. But I go back at my younger son and I, we butt heads all of the time because I mean, if I was in a wheelchair full time, I would have a lot of frustrations too. If I saw my friends and family be able to do everything that I know that I'm unable to do, I'm sure I would be extremely frustrated too. So I don't claim to understand how he feels. And in general, if you asked him, how's your mood? He would say, I'm good. Like he has a ton of friends. He's doing well in school. He seems like an overall happy kid. And he will say that to people. He said it to doctors. So I do believe overall he's a happy child. But sometimes when his frustrations take over, or if I try to help him with something and it doesn't go as well as he would like, or we fall outside of his very structured routine, it's like you said, it's just like fire. Like it's just his life is over at the moment. And I sometimes come at him so emotional and it doesn't help at all. It just makes it so much worse. And we've been doing that a lot lately. I think he's got a lot of emotions because school's almost over and he gets to see all of his friends all the time. And now when he'll be home, he won't get as much freedom. He won't get to see them as much. There's things that they do that he doesn't get involved in. And I'm sure all of this is on his mind. And I'm just like, what is your problem? And I'm screaming at him and he's screaming at me. And it never ends well. So I need to find my way. I need to be able to control my emotions a little bit more and try to be calmer instead of taking that approach when he's frustrated. So, very timely for me to hear what
Oh,
you're saying too.
there's an audiobook that I listen to. The author's name is Hal Runkle, and it's called Scream Free Parenting. And I'm not someone who really screams a lot at my children, but it will help you, or it has helped me just kind of control the way I react to them. And I still have poor reactions at times, that is for sure. But for the most part, I've gotten a lot better. And
Yeah,
I
that's
think it's
good.
from listening to that book. And
Okay, I'm
it's
gonna
for
listen to
all
it today.
ages. It's like
Yeah.
it's like from 2 to 20 something, no matter what age your children are. I really feel it will benefit a lot of parents.
Oh,
It and the audiobook's awesome because the author actually is the one narrating it.
oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll put that in the show notes for sure.
Yes,
I'm sure there's a
it's a
lot
good
of
one.
people that are excited
It's
about that.
yeah, it's a really good one. But it's helped me. It's helped me control my fire and just want to change to be a better parent. My parents, I really feel they did the best they could. I have great parents, but the way that I try to parent, it's a little bit different because I'm hoping to raise kids who are a little more confident than what I was,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know,
Yeah,
and not really fear speaking up, you know,
I
and
appreciate that.
those things. So,
Yeah. No, that's really good. And I also like that you said control the way that you react. That's the other thing I always say in almost every episode. I talk about Mel Robbins' let them theory because I just think those points are so relevant to a lot of the discussions that I have with my guests. And she talks about let me. So it's let me control the way that I
yeah,
react. And so I think that's a piece that we often overlook.
yeah, for sure. The second
Yeah.
half of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
we can only say let them so many times,
Right.
right? But
Let
then
them. I'm up on this hill by
it's
myself.
fine.
Right. Yeah.
But
You have
yeah,
to take ownership. Hmm.
right.
Yeah. Yeah,
We all have to, yeah, take that accountability for sure.
definitely. Well, I really like what you said about what your kids are learning. I think that's great. Are they involved in sports or what are they
Asher's
doing?
heavy sports. He's just doing rec soccer, but he does select baseball and he's actually starting tackle football this
Oh,
year for
okay.
the first time. So we'll see how that goes. But his main thing is baseball for the most
Okay.
part. And then Ayla is my child who does forensics, theater, and she rides horses. So
Oh,
we
cool.
just switched over to Western style riding. She was riding English. Now she switched to Western. It's a little more fun for her. But
Yeah.
yeah, but that's kind of what they do. So
Okay. So yeah, you said we are very busy. Yes, you are in the thick of it. Your kids have a lot going on and then this whole middle school, high school change. Yeah, there's a lot. So I get it.
I feel like really blessed that I'm kind of on the later end of having children. I had my kids in my mid and late 30s because my friends are going through it or have gone through it. Like their kids are off to college doing their thing now. So I kind of have the point of reference with them. Like, is this normal? How do I
Yes.
navigate this?
Yes,
Because
that's wonderful.
and it's my kids are very, very different with their learning styles. Ayla, she is an avid learner, avid reader, excels in all things school. Asher actually is a dyslexic thinker, so the classic learning system, it's not cut out for him. So that's another thing I've been navigating, just understanding dyslexia and how I can advocate for my kid and how he is now advocating for himself. But that's been a journey too. So going into middle school and now switching to new teachers and new classes and all of these things, it's been a journey. But Asher has seen me listening to audiobooks, reading books, taking notes, and doing all these things for him. So he knows I care very deeply for him and that I will advocate for him. And just that little bit of me putting in the effort to understand how he learns because he thinks differently than me and learns differently than me has just made him like, I feel like he realizes I've got his back, and in turn, he puts in more effort now to advocate for himself and just excel more in school um, because he can. He learns differently, but he is perfectly capable and has many, many strengths. And I remind him of that all the time. And like Asher is so strong with his hand-eye coordination, and my daughter not so much. Like sports
Mm,
are not her jam, and that's okay. Like
right.
it's just,
Everyone has their
yeah,
strengths.
embracing their differences. I remember my daughter when she was 4, we were driving. Like, isn't that the best time to have conversations with your
It really
kid?
is. Even as they get older. Yes,
Right?
it is.
So
It
I
is.
remember we're driving, she's 4, and she was like, I think it's really cool that we are all so different, Mom. Like, the world would be so boring if we were all the same. And I was like, isn't that the truth? Embracing people's differences.
At
Oh,
age 4.
yeah, and loving the fact that we're all different rather than like trying to have everyone be exactly like us. That's it's like the best thing ever. I'm so glad that they embrace differences in people because there's a lot of people that don't.
You are spot on, and I'm really liking the direction we're going here because not only did you share a lot about yoga and self-care and how that helped you, but you're also just really reflecting on parenthood, and I think that so many of us can resonate with what you're sharing. So, I appreciate that, and I do think a lot of us choose things that we appreciated that our parents do, and then we choose different ways to handle the way our parents handled things because we would like it to be a different outcome. And again, you said it perfectly. Our parents did what they could at the time. They did the best they could at the time. But there are some things that I'm like, I don't want it to go that way, or I want my kids to see it differently. So I appreciate that you pointed that out as well. And you brought up too showing your son that you will be an advocate for him. And it again makes me think like I want to make sure my son sees that too. I always tell him like maybe when you're old you'll be like my mom was great because he does not think that right now. But I was at he actually is on a radio program at his high school, which I didn't have that at my
Oh,
high
that
school. So
is
I think it is
cool.
yeah, it's so cool. It's student run. It's this amazing radio show. It's been going since like the late 70s, early 80s. I where I lived, I didn't live where we are. I'm not from where we live now. And I never even heard of like a student run radio station. That's crazy. So I kept pushing him. He would get really annoyed. But I do think sometimes you can do some gentle pushing because ultimately you know it'll be really good. And in the end, this did work out for me because he's very happy to be part of it. And they had a banquet the other night. So we went to it and they brought back some distinguished alumni and gave them some awards. And there was this he's a sports announcer now. We looked him up on Instagram. I mean, he's on TV. He's done all kinds of things from hockey to Olympics. And so he shared his whole story. It was so interesting with us. And I don't know if he's married. I didn't go that far down the rabbit hole, but he had his parents with him at this banquet. So I thought, now maybe he's not married and maybe that's why he brought his parents, but either way, the fact that he's, like, in his 40s and his parents came with him, he doesn't live in Michigan, came with him to this alumni event where he was being honored, and they were there supporting him and clapping and cheering for him and listening to him give a speech, and I thought, "That's the kind of parent I wanna be." I wanna be someone that they know always has their back and is always gonna cheer for them, even when they're in their 40s and they have some kind of accolade back at a student-run radio show
Right.
that he did when he was 15. Again, he chose to invite his parents to that, so I thought that was really interesting, and that's the type of parent I wanna be.
Yeah. That is so cool. I love
Yeah,
I absolutely love that. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's something that most of us as parents, I mean, we want to strive for, right? We want our kids to know how much we love them
Mhm.
and that
Yeah,
we will support them. I think that
yes.
the biggest thing for me, that the kind of the difference, right, is that I feel like when my kids are like, I want to do this when I'm older, or I want to try this. I'm always like, go for it. I'm okay
Right.
letting my kids fail at something because I failed at things. And I know that we grow from our failures. That's how we
Mhm.
learn. We're not
Yes.
supposed to live in a world where we never fail. Where maybe when I was growing up, if I was like, I want to be an astronaut or whatever, my parents would be like, "Oh no, Sarah, you don't want to do
Yeah,
that."
you don't wanna
Oh,
do that.
that's like wait, that's they would never be like, "Go for it."
Right.
So that's yeah, that's one of the differences. Ayla has told me
Yeah.
forever she's going to be some sort of doctor. I'm going to be a veterinarian. I'm going to be an anesthesiologist. I'm going to be whatever. Our high school is set up a little bit differently where it's a regular high school and then we also have three charter schools within our school. One
Oh,
of
okay.
them, one of the charter schools is it's called HS squared, but it's very science heavy. And she has decided to do this science-based, science-heavy program now going into high school. And I was like, that is like the coolest thing ever, right? I wish I had that. She'll have the opportunity to get her EMT training, get her CNA license, like go into all these different medical places. And I told her, if nothing else, it's going to help you decide what you do not want to do.
Right, I was just thinking that as you were speaking, it's like early on, she'll be able to pick and choose what interests her and what doesn't. That is
Right.
amazing.
Right. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But it's just the coolest thing that they actually have that available now. And
I know, I wanna go back to school
I know.
and try
I'm
these
like,
things.
go for it. All of it. Just go for it. Try it, experience it.
Right, and what's the worst that can happen? Like, she says, "You know what? It's not for me," and you make changes.
Right. It's great. I think that's one of the things too with when you and I were with the other company. That was brand new to me. Like I've
Same.
never done that, and I felt like I really learned a lot. And you've learned to fail forward, but it was
Mhm.
putting yourself into these uncomfortable situations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's things I do now that I wouldn't have done if it wasn't for the community from that company,
Right,
for sure.
right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's
So
what I'm trying to teach the kids now too.
mhm.
It's okay to fail forward,
Yep. I love that.
right?
Fail forward. Yeah, I was gonna say all of the posts that you make these days with your beautiful balance and your beautiful poses that I strive to do someday. What do you think about when you put those together? When you put this message out there, what are you trying to get across?
More than More than anything, I'm really, really working towards inspiring people to just to better themselves, um, and practice self-care and show that you can do things that are really challenging. I don't even know if my reel posted yesterday to Facebook at all. I know it's on my Instagram page, but it is this crazy move. There's a Yogi See Yogi Do is one of the handles on Instagram. And they're just
Okay.
these really creative poses, kind of strange. Like they're not something you'd actually do in a yoga class, but kind of fun to attempt. And this one is it's a very strong arm balance pose. And when I put things like that out there, it's not like, hey world, look at me, right? Look what I can do. But it's like, look what you can do when you try things over and over and over again. I fell the first few times, and sometimes I'll post bloopers, like if it's a reel, my yoga bloopers going into it. But I want people to know that you can create something really beautiful if you just keep going and keep trying. I mean, that's pretty much it. Because most of the poses I put out, they look prettier, right? Like
Yeah.
the lines are usually pretty nice, and the lighting is pretty good in my space. But yeah, it's all about you can do beautiful things.
Well, I will say when you post things like that, you are not putting out there that you are better than anyone else. I do not pick up on that at all. It is not like, look at me. You are not showing off at all. So don't worry about that. You are truly showing that we have more strength than we realize, that there's things we can try. And for anyone that thinks yogis go out and do headstands the first time, they're crazy because that's just not possible. You have to keep practicing.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so people should understand that there are gonna be times that you fall, that you didn't just all of a sudden decide you're gonna do this very difficult pose. It takes a lot of work and
Right.
time and effort. So I'm certain most people would realize that. But I really love that you're doing that, and I like that you show yourself and then you make this emotional or motivational, inspirational, whatever kind of post you feel like posting for the day. I think it's very important, and I think people should definitely take the second to read it and take what you're trying to show them because we can all use that reminder for sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So I will for sure post your Instagram handle in the show notes and that book that you talked about because I think people can definitely learn a lot and take a lot of what you said. Like I said, we never know which direction the show is going to go in. Sometimes people have very specific moments. You know, I've had women on here that have had breast cancer. I had a gentleman on here a few weeks ago who talked a lot about his daughter who had health issues. People have talked about grief. People have talked about moving. People have talked about, I always bring up my friend who moved to Italy as an expat with her family and 3 little children. It's just that one, that was so fun to hear all about that. So everybody has a story, everybody has different experiences that they share, and again, I don't say, "Here's what I want you to talk about." So I wasn't really certain, I just knew that you would give us some really good points and nuggets. I had a guest a few weeks ago who said, "Leave nuggets everywhere you go," and that's definitely what you did for us today in terms of self-care, in terms of not being afraid to try new things, and in terms of parenting and creating this positive space for your children, and I think it's wonderful. So thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Right. I really appreciate it. I've kind of
Mhm.
my new direction before with affiliate marketing. I think my goal was like to step away from dental hygiene and just really put my sole focus into that. But what I realized is I was actually taking time away from my family and pouring a lot of energy into the marketing stuff. And that didn't feel so good for me. So I mean, I still share things that I love, but it's very much on the back burner. And I've really been pouring into my children and my husband and our family. And that's become my sole focus because I still love dental hygiene. I do. I love my job. I have a very, very nice schedule right now where I can kind of tweak my hours to work with my family more. So, yeah, I've kind of like redirected my focus.
Yeah, and taking a left instead of a right. I
Uh-huh.
like it.
Yeah. But it feels really good. It feels really good. So you don't know. Sometimes you think you want to go one path and you're like, "You know what? The path I was on originally was actually really, really good." So,
Oh, that's an awesome way, and what a great note to end the Show Me the Way podcast for sure. So thank you for that. I appreciate it so much, and I just want to say thank you, and I just can't wait for our listeners to hear from you.
Andrea, it was a pleasure. I just love you. Your energy is amazing.
Oh,
So,
I
thanks for
feel the
having me
same.
on.
Of course, mutual love. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for joining me for the Show Me the Way podcast. I truly appreciate you tuning in to today's episode about overcoming adversity and finding your path. I hope it brought you new insights, empowered you with perspective, and inspired you to find joy in your journey. If this episode touched your heart, don't forget to leave a quick review as it will help us reach and motivate more people. Until next time, keep seeking the light and showing the way.